Absolutely.
So let's get right into it.
Let's
We
do
always
it.
start at the top, as always. Chan Sung Jung, Dan Ige. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty shocked because I didn't see Korean Zombie completely dominating the fight in the way he did. Not only was he super smooth and calculated on the feet, completely outpointed Dan every round, I would say. Some say the first round's pretty tightly contested. Some people were giving that round to Ige, but the way Korean Zombie was fighting behind his jab, I just didn't see it. I thought this was a 50-45 situation. And Korean Zombie's ground game to completely dominate Dan Ige on the ground just completely shocked me. And so much credit to Korean Zombie because he is evolving in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I thought Chan Sung Jung looked phenomenal, especially rebounding off that Brian Ortega loss where he got absolutely and completely outclassed. For him to be able to rebound here and have the fight that he did against Dan Ige is a testament to the fighter spirit because, man, Dan Ige is no slouch.
Yeah.
He is a top 10 guy. He's a phenomenal fighter. But Chan Sung Jung reminded us all why he's number 4 in the world.
Yeah, and he was
even coming off that dominating loss to Brian Ortega.
And you know, so many people talk about how Zombie, he lives up to that Zombie name, takes damage but delivers it himself. He didn't take damage in this fight. No. Yes, he was getting blasted in the 5th round, but you know, shout out to Dan Ige for showing the heart and the wherewithal to know he needed the finish. But Zombie was walking through that, and I'd say those were the biggest shots of the night.
Absolutely. And I love the song that he walks out to, the Cranberries, Zombie.
Oh, really?
That's what Chan Sung Jung walked out to. I love it, dude.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Oh, I love it. Yeah. I really like Zombie. I mean, he's talking about how he wants to stay in this top 5. He still wants to stay in title contention, and a win over Dan Ige is very, very impressive, especially after that first round KO. Dan Ige was coming off, had a lot of steam behind his name. But, I mean, what do we do with a Korean Zombie? Does he get a top 5 matchup, or does he fight another top 10 contender?
Nope. I think this is exactly what we're going to do. And this is MMA news, so we'll talk about it more, but I'm just bringing it up because it's the featherweight division. We'll talk about it more in depth later, but Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez is pulled. I think what's going to happen is I think Max is going to get the next shot, obviously, right? So he's going to wait till September, till that fight's done between Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. He's going to take on the winner of that, and I think they're going to give Chan Sung Jung Yair Rodriguez because that's 3 and 4. That makes the most sense to me, and I think the winner of that's the number 1 contender.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting what's going to happen in this situation because Chan Sung Jung apparently was fighting through a dislocated shoulder the entire fight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's
super
impressive.
tough. And to do what he did with a dislocated shoulder, it's some of the most impressive things you'll see in this sport. These guys are just putting it out there. And it's the stuff I love to see. So, yeah, that could happen. I don't know what's going to happen with that situation because, you know, Yair Rodriguez and Max Holloway, Max Holloway did pull out of that fight, but there hasn't been any other news about that. I don't know if they're trying to reschedule that fight or if they're going to find Yair a new opponent.
And that's why I think, honestly, they're going to reschedule that fight, or not reschedule the fight, but go their separate ways with that fight. Because normally when you hear, you know, someone gets an injury, an undisclosed injury, you're like, oh, okay. Well, they typically reschedule that fight pretty soon, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, right? Like when that eye happened, they go, okay, well, we're not doing it now. Now we're going to do it July 24th. We knew that within like a week. We have heard nothing of this fight. And I think after Chan Sung Jung went out there and did what the number 4 rank in this featherweight division did, you got to kind of throw him Yair Rodriguez because, like, as much as I love that Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez matchup, I don't think Max had to take that fight to get the next shot. I think Max has already proven his work. He has shown that he is the top guy in this featherweight division outside of obviously Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. So I think you gotta give Max. He's a number 1 contender. He gets the next shot after September.
Yeah, Max is just such a G. He just wants to stay active.
Yep, and you got to respect it. You got to respect it.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with Robert Whitaker. You know, you got to respect that.
So let's say Chan Sung Jung doesn't fight Yair Rodriguez. Who else do you see? I mean, obviously Max is off the table, Brian Ortega, so that's essentially everybody above him. Would we see maybe a Calvin Kattar, Chan Sung Jung down the road?
I'd love that fight. Or maybe for Josh Emmett's return.
Oh, shit.
Because, again, I don't know where his knees are at.
Yeah.
Obviously below his waist, but I don't know as far as like injury timetable coming back. It's such a dad joke. It's so stupid. But I just don't know with the timetable for him coming back from that injury. But yeah, I'd love to see that matchup too. But Calvin Kattar's a great matchup. I like both those.
Yeah. Ant W, shout out my guy. Ignorant MMA, shout out as well. Thank you guys for being here so early. Zombie versus Emmett. When Emmett comes back, I actually love that matchup.
Yeah.
That's a name I didn't think about because, yeah, like you said, Josh Emmett with the both, I think, was it both his ACLs or just one of them? I can't remember. I think it was just one, but he hasn't been around. I haven't even seen him on Instagram. I don't know if he's back to training or not.
Yeah, see, I've heard no news or anything on Josh Emmett.
Yeah,
so.
hopefully he returns soon because I think it's been almost a year now.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty long time. It's been a pretty long time. And that's a situation, especially with your knee and your ACL, you don't want to rush back in there.
No.
You know, you take a calf kick or a kick right to the knee again, blow it out because you came back too soon. That's the worst possible thing that you would want for a guy like that. Would maybe, if not Emmett or Cater, maybe an Arnold Allen versus Zombie. Okay. Arnold Allen's looking for a big fight. And I think that's a pretty deserving one. So it just depends. I mean, does getting completely dominated by Brian Ortega put Chan Sung Jung in a situation where he maybe needs to get one more before he possibly gets a number one contender or even a top 5 matchup? It's interesting because this featherweight division, it's kind of the Wild West right now, especially because we have that title fight locked in and we still have not had it scheduled. So there's going to have to be a lot of fights to play out to get a true number one contender.
And I would agree with that, but also disagree. I do agree it's Wild Wild West outside of Max Holloway because I think that's clear cut and concise. Right? Like Max Holloway is a number one contender in this featherweight division. No questions asked, right? But outside of that, you are right. Like you've kind of got the Wild Wild West here because you don't know any of these guys could fight for a title. Mm-hmm. I mean, any of them, all the way down to number 9.
Yeah, you got Edson Barboza. Yeah,
you got Arnold Allen, who's still crushing it at number 7. You know, Josh Emmett at 6, coming back off that injury. You know, Calvin Kattar getting outclassed by Max Holloway about a year ago. But I mean, still. These are all top contender guys. So.
Yeah, Zombie versus Barboza. Shout out to Ant W for that one because I think that might be one of the best matchups you can make.
I would love that, but I'd love to see Yair Rodriguez and Edson Barboza. Yeah, that one would be fun.
Are you shit? Dude, that's the fight they should make.
That's the fight. And I think Edson Barboza deserves it, man, because he's just looked so good as of late. I would love to see that. Edson Barboza's that savvy vet too, man. He deserves a big fight like that.
Dude, that'd be so wild because Yair is so unorthodox. He's so crazy. He's so wild. How would Edson Barboza attack that? I think you just have to get in his face and just constantly kick his leg out. Yeah. And if you could do that to a Yair, you know, you chop him down, take his footwork away, that'd just be an amazing matchup. There's so many good matchups you can make in this division. I absolutely love this division, and I just can't wait for the future of it. I think it's time. Should we get into our picks?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I put 2,000 church coin on IGE. It's just, I feel like Ige's in one of these situations like a Rob Font was a few years ago. You know, he'd work his way up and he's beating these top guys, but then when he gets to a top 5 matchup, he can't find a way to win. Is it a situation where we never see Dan Ige in the top 5, or I think it's just maybe matchups? I think maybe Korean Zombie was just a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think Dan Ige still got the talent and the capability.
And he's young.
Yeah, dude, he's not even 30 yet.
He's
the
young.
guy's
He's
29.
Still developing as a fighter.
Yeah, you get in the prime of your fighting when you're 32, 33 years old. I mean, this guy still has 3 to 4 years until he's in his prime. So, no, I definitely think Dan Ige can still be a top contender, top 5 contender, and I think actually could even fight for a belt one day. I mean, especially 4 or 5 years down the road. He's good. He's gritty. He's tough. And, dude, whenever you see Dan Ige on a card, I get excited.
I do too.
Because I know it's going to be a great fight. Win or lose, Dan Ige is going to go out there. They call him 50K Dan Ige for a reason. Because this guy just puts out these great performances time after time again. So for me, no, I definitely think Dan is still a top contender in this division. And, I'd still want to see him fight a top 10 guy.
Absolutely.
I think he still deserves it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that real quick before we move on. Like, who does Dan Ige get matched up next? He's probably going to take a little time off. You know, he did take some damage in that Korean Zombie fight. Korean was just hitting him with that jab, and such a stiff jab. He was fighting so well behind it. So, you know, do you do a Dan Ige versus like a Bryce Mitchell or something like that? I would love to see those jiu-jitsu transitions.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think I'd rather see Sadiq Youssef, though.
Ooh, that's the one. That's a great striking matchup.
Yes, a very good striking matchup. You know, Sadiq is a number 11 here. And I would love that. And I believe both coming off a loss because didn't Sadiq just lose to Allen?
Yes.
I might be wrong on that.
Yeah,
but
I'm
pretty sure that was a case. So
yeah.
But yeah, that'd be a great matchup. Both those guys coming off a loss. And, you know, Dan Ige goes out there, beats a tough guy like Sadiq Youssef. Yeah, I am right. Yeah. Allen did win that fight. So I think that would be the bounce back fight for Ige. You know I said top 10. I mean, technically Yusuf is 11. But if you were to go out there and beat that guy, then this guy's definitely hanging around the top 10, maybe sniffing 6, 7 after that, you know, because Sadiq Yusuf is a tough guy.
Ige versus Burgos. Jesus Christ. I love that matchup too. Man.
Oh, yeah. Shane
I love that matchup too. Shane is such a savage. God, that Edson Barboza fight was so wild. It was so good. It just sucked we didn't get to watch it live. Fucking ESPN Plus. It's cocksuckers every time. Anyways, let's move on. You took Zombie, man. You put 3,000 church coin. That was a nice return for you.
Yeah. I got 2,700 on a -110. So
yeah, it was a rough night for me. It was a rough night for me. I think I got 75 church coin altogether.
Yeah. It was rough.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right.
It is what it is.